From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team. Dominating with Dawson.
Captain's Log Supplemental.
Miss Vicky.
Yes, sir.
You know what?
What?
I've been thinking about this Sentinel system.
Yeah. Tell me about the Sentinel system.
So what I was thinking was we have the one car that's got the aim dash that's slowing us down. Because installing the aim dash is actually, it probably is easy, but it's quite hard the first time. And we haven't figured that out yet. The Sentinel system is really easy to set up. So what I was thinking was, why don't we put it in the Lemons car? And we'll worry about the aim data information separately. And we'll kind of break it down into a project. Because then we'd have the motorsports video system that we really, really want, and we'd be able to stream it. We just won't have the data inside, but we have the data outside, so we can combine them later. But I think that's a really good solution.
So what does this Sentinel system do?
Well, if it had the aim data, it would have all the data on the screen, and you could see all their telemetry and everything live. But we'd be able to not only record it for viewing after the race, but we could actually watch our car during the race.
Ooh, like on the monitor and everything?
On a monitor, if you were at home and I was at a track, or if you were at the track and I was at home, depends on who gets the short straw, but we'd be able to watch each other.
It's something I've always wanted to do.
And you know what? If you're driving, you know what you can do on the Sentinel system?
What's that?
You can communicate to me with your hands, and I can't do a thing about it.
Even better.
So, if you need to give a wave or a Jersey wave, whatever you need, we could save it and see it on the screen. And then you can have up to 3 different cameras, and it'll have picture in picture. You'll have the basic main shot out the front window, and then 2 cameras where you put them wherever you want. One could be on the driver, or one could be on the rear view. It's kind of cool.
Then we can upload it onto YouTube.
We could bore millions of people on YouTube.
I love it.
All right. Very well. You know what the only downside I see about this?
What?
Your mom and my mom are going to be panic stricken the entire weekend watching this thing to see if everything's going well.
This is true.
We probably shouldn't tell them.
I like the idea of having a Sentinel.
Well, luckily we have maybe 2. Depends on how things go. We're going to try. All right. That sounds like a plan. That's the project. We got to get that ready for the next race.
Sounds great.
All right. Very well. Thank you, ma'am. Dominating with Dawson. I need my Dominating with Dawson dose of the week.
Let's do it. Let's dominate.
All right. Domination is begun. Ben, we do mostly endurance racing. And even when you do sprint racing, you're often not out there by yourself.
Right.
And you may have, even when you are out there by yourself, there's still different roles and responsibilities. So I thought maybe we'd go over a couple of them for this segment.
Oh, you mean people might not just know this off the top of their dome going into this?
They might not,
Okay. Yeah.
So let's pick a few. I think everybody's going to assume that there's a driver. So we're going to say that the driver is pretty easy. What about the pit manager, like the person in charge of could be the garage, could be the pit area on the track, could be he's the, or she, in our last race case, Miss Vicky performed this role admirably. What would they be doing, and what would their role encompass?
Well. This is a good one that you brought up, because this is exactly the kind of thing I try to shirk or shy away from whenever I'm driving on a team, because it involves usually math, which I can't do, won't do. Being smart about strategy, which can't do, also won't do. Stuff like that. So this is the person who's in charge of making sure all the stuff that needs to be down at your pit space is there, making sure the car is topped off with gas, making sure that the radios are charged before you get all your stuff together to get down there, making sure that the radio in the car is in the right place and on and everything's working. This is the person who hopefully when you get your driver in the car is going to be doing the comms check to make sure with the driver, making sure that your communication system's working. This person plays many roles, but hopefully if they kind of got the routine down, or if they don't have the routine down, they have a very detailed checklist that they're going to follow. It's sequential. You know what I mean? Like this is the person who's in charge of making sure everything is together to get your effort down to the track and get you rolling under the green flag. So this person's always also going to be concerned with not only topping up the gas in the race car, but making sure you got enough gas for your first fuel stop and a plan for, refilling fuel jugs if you need to after that first fuel stop or the second one. And, this person needs to know what time you need to get more fuel into the pit space if that's going to be something that's a concern that day. Yep. So everything from making sure all the right stuff from your trailer is down at your pit space, the tools you're most likely to need, the spares that you're most likely to be able to put on the car within the rules of the series you're running with. If it's a series that doesn't let you change tires out on a hot pit, there's no need to take tires. This person needs to understand the rules of what can be done at the pit and be ready to do, whatever's likely. I mean, hopefully you've also been racing this car for a while. You kind of know what it's going to need during the event. So,
or delegated if you have more people.
Sure. Yeah, but this is the person who's ultimately in charge of doing all that stuff. Yeah, and likely it's going to be a lot of delegation. Now, this is probably not the person who's going to go to the gas pump and get more gas. But this is the person who's going to go, hey, you and you go fill up jugs right now. You know what I mean? So yes, you're right. That delegation should be an essential part of this person's job, right? Kind of sending the people who are on the team but likely not driving the car that moment off to do some stuff.
Mm-hmm. Miss Vicky, how did you like that role? Did you enjoy it? Did you you kind of took a big chunk of it?
Yeah, I kept reverting back to you by habit.
I know,
because you're like no, you this is your team, and I'm like, you are right. So
that's what you wanted. So I was trying to help.
Yeah, and you did good. Yeah, you did good.
Shirk and Dawson style.
Yeah. So he did good by booting it back. So, but yeah, like I said before in our previous podcasts, it was easy because the car was prepared. So things weren't going wrong. I didn't have that issue when things were falling apart and, utter chaos. So I think we just came prepared. That's all.
Okay.
So it was easy.
Okay. So part of the reason we're doing this is, especially for the small teams or the single person team, this is probably why all of these different roles and responsibilities is why you are so tired when you go back to work. Because whether it's one person driving out to the track all by themselves and doing this whole thing solo, or a team of 4 or a team of however many, everybody's got a lot to do. Okay. So let's talk about how we set this up on our team. We have something along the lines of a paddock person. They take care of all the paddock related stuff, not the garage related stuff, but all the other, the food and everything else. What does our paddock person do, Miss Vicky?
Our paddock person is just, as we said before, our paddock person is basically the person that I wouldn't say prepares, but oversees the meals to make sure the meals are distributed, what times that they go out. Also in charge of camp alone, just in general, just camp as a whole, and designates from that point.
And do you guys use one of those when you're out at the track, or it depends on who you're running with?
It's usually just, if it's our team race, it's just a pickup game. And I'm just trying to do the best I can to sort of shirk the smart stuff. And I'll lug whatever I need to, lug, but I'm usually not the person who's in charge of saying who's doing what or anything like that.
Yet another reason why we need to get you to a track with us, because you may be the fastest person there, but we're going to make sure you're fed enough so we might have a chance to catch you. Okay.
Yeah, no, we don't like there are no extra people, and there's no person who's like in charge of this thing and that thing necessarily with our little bizarre collective of people who just barely have enough time to get a car on a trailer.
All right, very well. We have a position called the lead mechanic. What does our lead mechanic do, Miss Vicky?
Must be
the person
nice.
that is most savvy with the engines in the cars.
And they may or may not be the only mechanic, but
right. But they're the one that actually designates, and they are the person usually with a bunch of 8 other heads that jump in as soon as a car comes in, start diagnosing and then delegating.
So you're saying this is the person on your team who should be the closest to being ASE certified, or actually is the ASE certified?
The best we got.
And then it sort of cascades down from there. We're talking about this person being the most technically capable, even if they're not the most present.
Yes.
And it's per car.
Right.
Gotcha.
So if we have more than one car, we try to have one person. Listen, you are the primary person to keep this car on the track.
Right.
And you can grab anybody or everybody, but that's your car. And if the other car is in and you're bored, go ahead, go have a good time.
Right.
But if the other car comes in, you will automatically get your get out of jail free card. You go fix that car.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're responsible for the car. It just means that they delegate out for the people that, because a lot of us are still learning. So he just says, he or she was just like, okay, I'm going to teach you how to do fluids, do tires, and just delegates the work out while they might be able to handle some of the larger, more technical things.
Rebuilding the cylinder head, perhaps.
That's right.
Right.
Yes.
Doing an engine swap.
No problem. We got that covered. That's right. And hopefully you'll
lashing valves.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hopefully not, but yes. Hopefully you'll have backup mechanics or assistant mechanics. But the one person who gets a special title on our team is the sous chef.
The sous chef.
Ooh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got a sous chef.
We do.
We have a garage sous chef.
That's right.
Wow.
And that's usually second mechanic / sous chef, or
gotcha.
Or
it
not.
would be,
It could be as simple as the mechanic's underneath the car and she sticks her hand out empty and says 14 millimeter socket.
Right. All right. So you got a grabber, like a tool grabber. Is your sous chef?
Usually,
cool.
Yeah. Usually keeps the garage clean also.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Keeps the tools away.
You put them back as you get them back from the person who's using
when
them.
the car's back out, that person, besides the chief mechanic, but that person usually puts tools away, make sure everything is organized.
I take pride in being a pretty good sous chef as far as that goes. If you had to put me in a role on a team, it's Ben, stop making so much noise with that useless thing you're doing and give me a so-and-so. Ben, stop doing that. Give me a so-and-so.
It's easier than saying like when somebody's performing an operation and you're that assistant nurse that's handing things over. That's basically what that person is.
Yep.
That's right.
Keeping the room clean. Yep.
I've been doing that for decades, whether it was doing it for my dad while he was building a race car or just doing it for the qualified, smart people who I race with. Ben, give me a
Exactly. And then Vicky says, no, that's not what I said. And I'm like, no, that is what you said. It's not what you meant, but it's what you said. We might as well do it just to be clear. But the driver, when they're driving, that's what they do.
In that moment.
They shouldn't be.
Yes. And also, though, they can be informing the people back in the pits of like something needs to be done when they get back. Like, hey, we need to make sure there's enough blah 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 in the blah blah blah. Or hey, we get in this car is doing this right now, so maybe when we get in, we should bleed 3 pounds of air out of the left rear. You know what I mean? Like there's
online. They are actively online diagnosing the car as it's running.
So they should be giving good feedback. So there's the physical driving of the car, but there is also some analogous roles that can really help the team to go along while you're driving. I guess concurrent with the driving are giving feedback about the car and hopefully being able to help the team improve the car at the next stop if there's any adjustments that are available. You know what I mean? So that's part of it too, or just helping the team watch if it's getting hot. Like, hey, my temperature's within 190. It's up to 200. We okay? Like, they're having to get feedback from the team. Like, hey, if it goes over 220 or whatever, then you're in trouble. Planning to start coming in. So there should be a lot of give and take if you have comms with your pit, which you should. I've definitely been the person who was dumb enough to like do plenty of races without having comms, and you just sort of fly by the seat of your pants. But also, I've only won one race doing it that way. So,
but the driver's gotta function within the team, right?
Yep.
If it's a team, and you've also got to take into account that if, let's say that we're at a race and it's the three of us because we're the only people on the podcast right now, and Ben goes out first. It's a 2-day race, and we got to do, let's say, 20-hour race, whatever. Doesn't matter. It doesn't make a lot of sense for Ben to go use up all the tires and all the brakes and leave nothing for the rest of the weekend, because that's not good for the overall performance of the team. We don't win the race by having the fastest lap on day one.
Right.
And for what we're doing, it's the most laps. So you got to work within the team construct. And I guess the other thing is when the thing that drives me nuts is when the driver is also mechanically inclined and they get underneath the car and they start working and they're still in their race suit. Take the 10 seconds, get out of your race suit, man. It's not good. Because now you got petroleum juice all over your suit, and that's not exactly fire retardant.
No, it's not. But I think we should also say something about just the specifics of being somebody who runs all the tires off or uses up all the brakes. Like, for the most part, we're talking about endurance racing that's on 200 tread wear tires or 180 tread wear tires, which are relatively tough tires that are going to last a whole day or two, depending on which one you're running. So to have somebody be driving in such a way to make some of the tires, used up too soon, like what would we be talking about, really? I mean, we would be talking about just driving the car extra hard, right?
Yep,
we're talking about somebody who goes, but realistically, you're really going to be talking about somebody who goes out flat spots, tires, something like that. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's realistic to be like, oh yeah, this one guy went out and just smoked everybody else's lap time so much that he ran the tires off. Like really, the tires that we're talking about don't necessarily run off in a linear way like a set of Hoosier R-Comps or something like that do. But yeah, you could definitely be the person that goes out and does a bunch of dumb stuff. I'm only saying this because I've been that person. Goes out and do a bunch of dumb stuff and try to push it too deep in the brakes, and you end up ruining part of the set of tires just by locking the tires up. So I was just pointing that out as one of the ways, if you're talking about when people are picturing how do you go out there and overdo it with the car or overdo it with the tires, one way is just overdriving and flat spotting them. I don't think you're necessarily going to run out of brakes unless you're trying to kind of do that thing where you run maybe sport brakes in an endurance race, and you're not really running full pads. That's the kind of thing. I think generally, if you're running good endurance rated full pads, you're not really going to run the brakes off it. I think you're most likely to mess a tire up by flat spot. Just trying to be sort of realistic about what the sort of failures you're going to be looking at if you end up being that person that goes out and overdrives the tires. That's how you're going to do it.
Yeah, get them way too hot, maybe around the edges. That's about all.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
You got to look at the overall team and try and get them there.
Yeah, definitely. You gotta be driving the car like somebody else is gonna have to get in and drive it for another 2 hours, another 6 hours. What I mean? You have to hand the car off in a way that the next person can get in and perform for a few hours, right?
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Unless it's the end of the day and you've got instructions from the team to go out and do these certain lap times, and it means you're gonna have to crush it pretty hard. But that's generally a pretty singular circumstance. It's very rare that you're going to be out there running for the lead and having your team go, all right, give it everything you got.
Exactly. What about if you've got pits? If you're going to do pit changes and fueling, you're going to have a fire person and you're going to have a gas. We call him a gasser, the person who fills up the car with gas. Those are two separate roles. Ideally, neither one is the driver getting into the car, but definitely not the gasser is the driver getting into the car.
Yeah, I've definitely been the driver. We've definitely been lean enough where we've told the driver as soon as you bail out of the car, I'm going to throw a fire extinguisher in your hand and we're going to start fueling. So sometimes that is an easy fallback if you're sort of short staffed. If you don't have the fire bottle covered, just assume that driver is going to have to bail out. and that driver may be in rough shape physically, so it's not always the smartest idea. Like ideally, you want to let a driver just bail out and get across the wall and start drinking water. But
yeah,
excuse me, every now and then you're running so lean that you're just like, stay right there, fella, hold that bottle for a minute.
But the last position you want your driver who's going into the car to be is the person filling the gas. That's not.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Definitely not. No, I mean, and ideally, hopefully, your incoming driver is getting belted in by the outgoing driver or something like that. And neither one is necessarily involved with the fueling. And a lot of this is also going to be series dependent as far as what's allowed to happen during different phases of the pit stop. Some series won't let you do anything while the car is being fueled. Then you can do stuff. Some series will let you do fueling while you're doing driver's test. So it's always good to be cognizant of the rules you're looking at.
Yeah, I think in our situation, what worked out really well was that the person getting out of the car jumps back over the wall and hands gas cans over.
Yeah, that's a good rule. If they can stand up, if they can stand up,
right. And the person going in is the one that's holding the fire extinguisher.
Right, and that works if it's a situation where you can't do anything except fuel.
Right.
Right. Otherwise, you'd have your driver getting in. Okay.
And don't wear your race gloves when you're fueling. Get a separate pair of race gloves.
Cheapies, if you got them, or old ones.
Or old ones, yes.
Without holes. They need to have no holes, though.
Yes, you want to keep those in there too, because you don't want to get gas on your gloves.
Right.
Yep. All right. What about the often overlooked team member known as the whiteboard?
Comrade whiteboard. Big part of the operation if you're so inclined, right?
Exactly. He never forgets, man.
Yeah. That's something that smart teams do. I'm just chuckling because it's something like, of course, my team has never been like a whiteboard team. Of course, we're always also never out there winning.
You guys are seasoned.
But yeah, no, it's a really smart idea to have a whiteboard. And some teams will use it to keep track of who's supposed to be getting in the car at what times. Yep. What do you guys put on your whiteboard? Is it a bunch of stuff, a bunch of different stuff, one big theme?
Oh, we got it. We got a whiteboard.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Bill sets it up with race times compared to gas times and break times. Basically, meals are going to be around this time. Who's going to go in? Who's going to arrange it? Because those people have the responsibilities elsewhere. So he times it around there. And especially when we have guest drivers, depending on their skill level, we want to make sure that they're not at the beginning of the race if they're new on track, and not at the end of the race if they're new on track. They'd like to have them more so in the middle while they're warming up, and Sunday is different. And then we have a section for parts that need to get managed and parts that might have to be picked up. Or for the runner, and with those parts that need to be managed, which means that this is possibly going to happen, so we need to address this. We have to make note of this stuff.
Gotcha.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 6 different positions
on the board,
counting the driver, and then we've got 2 little note areas. One for like need now, which would be like gas, anything you need to go get a part, anything. And then we've got the need later, which is the nice to have or the improve next time. Like, hey, we're having problems with our brakes are getting too hot in the front. We're going to need to do something about that. So like projects off at post track. But we try to break it down, and we'll have like 5 or so columns, and we'll have each stint by driver. We'll have a different lead mechanic, because the driver can't be the lead mechanic because he's driving or she's driving. So we try to break it down, and that way you can have people have off time. So they're not always on the entire weekend. Like you can have like this stint, you're off. You don't have anything to do, So we have enough people, we can usually do that. So
sounds good.
Somebody has to be present.
Yeah, pretty much. And then let's see, what else do we have? If you have time, it's always good to have a video person and or a tech person for like telemetry and transponders and setting up the video, setting up anything that you guys want to run. It's by choice. If you have younger people on the team, one of the favorite things they like to do is go take pictures and videos. you know, because, you know, if it's 3 or 4 people on a team and you're in an endurance race, you're going to be running around the whole time and you're going to turn around and go, didn't get any pictures. And sometimes pictures are fun. Let's see what else. Spotters are always good. If you can find them, people to go stand around the track, that would be great. Our team is not exactly great at this, so we actually have a special position called the morning crew, which is for the 1 or 2 people who actually wake up in the morning and get working on the car to make sure it's ready to get out the track. We've had that as a problem, so we started that. And then, you know, there's a couple other things you can do. If you've got somebody who's good at setup or race engineering, that would be great. Or if you have somebody who's good at data analysis or coaching, that would be great. Or somebody's we try to have somebody on the radio. The last position we always have is BARF, which stands for bring a radio friend. We'll go with friend. Fella. Or no, I can't make that into a girl thing, but that's fine. Radio. Carry your radio with you. If you have the radios and you've got enough for everybody on the team, carry radios. You know, that
bring a radio, fem friend.
Fem friend.
That's how you get
right.
the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
I quickly. I like what all the stuff you said there. I quickly need to get back over to the morning crew. I like that concept. It's a really smart idea because if nobody does it, then you're not going to make grid. But it sounds like you created a position, created a thing out of a need, right? What other motivations or sort of stimulations exist for these morning crew people have to go do it? Do you guys have like a theme song? What gets them going? What gets the morning crew rolling and getting them excited? Because it sounds like it wasn't a natural function for you people. So there's got to be some sort of key, some sort of trigger that gets the morning crew rolling. What is that?
Coffee?
No, because the morning crew is
and
waiting
pancakes.
waiting on the food. So when my eyes open, I'm up. Okay. So I was the morning crew and I needed help. So I decided to have a crew as opposed to a person.
Right.
So Jim also wakes up typically on our team. Jim's an early riser. So because we usually end up bringing at least one dog.
Dog's gonna pee.
Exactly. So you've got a breakfast squad, then you've got the people skulking around breakfast, and then you've got somebody walking at least one dog. And the car is like the last thing on
part
the
of
list.
The P squad.
Yeah. So we find that we need at least 2 people to be out there. Like
jazz music? Are you playing jazz music while it's
No. It's upbeat, and if I have control of it, it's very
Backstreet
upbeat.
Boys. Nothing but Backstreet Boys.
Them too. I'll play just about anything.
Them too.
I like beats per minute, and I like up tempo. So
gotcha.
Get this thing rolling, and if I wake somebody up, all the better.
They should have been up. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I mean, we're not quite race bar, but we're not very far off race bar.
It's funny. I was thinking about those lovely folks just the other day, maybe even the day I was thinking about we were going to record later, but I wouldn't have any connection to you people at all if it wasn't for race bar. This is their fault. They're like, hey, you got to come on this pod. We're doing this weird podcast thing. It's like January. I think this was January of pandemic year. And they're like, yeah, get on this thing with these guys. We're going to all go on there. It's crazy. These people are nuts. And then here we are. Years later.
And there it is. Yet another reason why Ben hates race bar.
No, we love race bar.
I love
race bar is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that kind of summarizes. Did we miss anything? Anybody come up with anything?
Some of the higher end teams bring their own masseuse to the track.
Garage Heroes and Training at gmail.com. Garage Heroes and Training at gmail.com.
But other than that, I think that's about it. Also, some teams have I don't know what you call the person who makes crepes.
Yes.
They have a creper. They'll have a creperie set up, but that's generally not what we're talking about.
I heard they were creepy.
Crepey, he's so crepey.
Crepey.
So if you guys have something else, another position that we need, because obviously when you have a team of 4 people and we have like 15 different roles, everybody gets to wear multiple hats. But if we miss something, let us know. And if you love the concept of Sous Chef, let us know. It's one of my favorites. It's the only thing I can do. That and runner. So, all right. Thanks, everybody.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
You good? You good, Ben?
Yeah, I gotta hit it.
All right. No worries.
I'm
Vicky's
good.
falling asleep.
I was gonna say, I
I'm
think
tired.
Vicky's also good.
I'm tired.
Thanks for being patient. I know it was a pain in the ass getting
Oh
started.
no, we don't mind at all. We take Dawson any way we can get him.
All right.
Let's
go.
rephrase that, shall we?
Yeah, that's true.
Too tired to rephrase, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, baby.
There you go.
All right. Hopefully they're down for the count tonight, Ben. Have a good night.
Yeah, they are. They are. Good night, folks. See you
All right.
soon.
Have fun. Thanks,
Bye.
Ben. Bye. You good, Miss
Tired.
Vicky?
I am.
All right. I gotta let this download, then I'll be in.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye.
Bye.